So I think in general it's like easy means easy. Like it doesn't matter if you run at like 6-7 kilometers an hour. It doesn't matter. Like it's not about going fast. It's about making your body move and like have some adaptations, have some regeneration to be able to do very well, to push hard when you have the hard sessions. That's one very common mistake. And I would say the other is to not take into account all the different stresses of the body. So because we think about, okay, like this is a workload, and that makes this training session, it put a stress to my body of whatever it is, like 2. And then we think about that number 2 to plan the next hard session, for example. But we don't take into account like if you had like a lot of stress at work, if you had like some like with the family, or like all these other stress that it might be bigger. So instead of thinking like this was a stress of 2 for the workout, it's maybe like a 8 because all the rest. So we really need to take into account all these things to plan our the week. I think in the short cycles.
Yeah, and I think a good point that kind of goes hand in hand with that is that sometimes I see a lot of athletes, they are glued to a training schedule versus like adopting, like kind of changing it from the day to day based on some of those challenges that come up. That, sometimes unexpected things happen, whether it's at work or in personal life, or indeed that adjusting, maybe you had a hard session planned and maybe you have to scale back the intensity a bit, or the duration, or any of these kind of things. So
and that's it's a very good point. And people, normally you stick to the plan because the plan is like the dream, no? Like you think, okay, that's what it will make me good. But reality is that from plan to reality, it's very different because all these things, and we need to be able to adapt the plan. And that's like some tools, like it can be how you feel the charge, and it's very hard to see how much this other stress it has affect you. Think nowadays we have tools like the heart rate variability. You can have the sensations of like how tired you are, but I think if you look to the heart rate variability and then you see like how is your mood, how is your feeling, like your tiredness on the muscles or in the body, the quality of sleep. But if you think about all these things together, then you can understand how ready you are for a session. And that's very important for the day to day. And also like think like when you are many times like, okay, no, I cannot miss that session. And it's like adaptations, they never come from one session. Like the body like will tend always to go to balance, to osmosis. So that means that if you do one stress to the body, like one very hard session, the body will like be stressed and then will go back to his normal. And if you do only one session, it will happen nothing. The thing is like if you do one hard session and then like after a few days after you do the same session, and after a few days the same session, then the body will say, okay, that's my new normality. So I need to my stability will be in another level. It's not about one session, it is about like doing this repetition of hard sessions all over the year. So it's not, if you do like 30, 40, 50 sessions hard during the year, that's what makes adaptations. It's not one hard